Well, this is a huge setback as far as the AIADMK is concerned, and to discuss every aspect of this verdict, we have a full Power Pact panel here in the studio, and also guests joining us from all across. We will be joined by Siddharth Varadarajan, senior journalist. Also joining us would be T.R. Ramachandran. He is a political analyst. Javed Ansari, executive editor, Headlines Today, also with us in the studio. Also with me in the studio is Gaurav Kant. He's a constitutional expert, and of course, editor South T.S. Sudhir joining us from Bangalore, from outside the special court. My first question to Mr. Ramachandran, sir, what are the repercussions you see as far as the politics in Tamil Nadu is concerned now?
While it is going to lead to a major upheaval, the fact remains that this is after an interminably long time that Jayalalithaa has been convicted in a case of having assets beyond her known sources of income. But I think this is a singular lesson to these powerful politicians, not just in Tamil Nadu, but all over the country. The fact is, she will have to step down, which means her party virtually becomes rudderless. It is unlikely that she's going to give up the grip and hold on her party. She will have a dummy in place, as it became evident in 2001, and whoever it is will follow the diktats of Jayalalithaa wherever she is. If the verdict is for more than 3 years, even though the public prosecutor argued for a punishment of 7 years plus, then I guess that it is going to be an even difficult situation for the AIADMK. Overall, if one sees it, it shows a narrow, a very small ray of light to an down and out DMK to try and make an effort at coming back in the politics in Tamil Nadu.
Absolutely. Stay on with us, sir. Let me also bring in Siddharth Varadarajan, senior journalist, who is also joining us live on this broadcast. Siddharth, my first question to you, it will be difficult for AIADMK, no doubt, but is there a number two in place? Is there a team in place to now take over, and who are the probables according to you?
Well, Jayalalithaa doesn't do number twos or number threes or number fours or number fives, right? So she is the supreme leader of her party, and there is nobody who is even remotely a second in command or a trusted lieutenant. So literally anybody that she chooses will enjoy the power of Chief Minister in name only, will be completely loyal to her, and to that extent I don't think we should worry unduly about the identity of this powerless individual who will be nominated to keep the seat warm for her until such time that she feels she's able to exercise that authority again. So Paneerselvam, as Mr. Ramachandran said, he mentioned 2001, Paneerselvam was the designated seat warmer at that time. She may well choose him now, she may choose somebody else. But the centrality and the salience of Amma as a name, as a persona, as a totem for the ADMK politically is not going to diminish. It's going to actually be enhanced even further. You will find more schemes being launched in Amma's name. You will find a more abundant use of her portraiture, and every attempt will be made by the party to exploit public sentiment, to portray this conviction as unjust and the result of political vendetta. So I don't think you're going to see any diminution in the visible, physical, it's not as if Jayalalithaa was a very visible chief minister herself, but her images loomed large everywhere, and that's going to continue. There is no threat to her government because the ADMK has a majority. Elections aren't due until 2016. So any realignments, any shot in the arm for the DMK or other parties will really have to wait. And 2 years is a long time in politics. Whether the DMK will be able to sustain and build upon the slight opening that the judgment gives them, I don't know. But I think that as far as the ADMK's own internal arrangements are concerned, we should be under no illusion that there is any second in command in that way. What she decides will prevail. and that's the way it's going to be.
Absolutely. Let me very quickly go across to TS Sudhir at South to just get a sense on the ground. Sudhir, what is the latest right now? But are we expecting the verdict to be announced today itself, or in what time? In how much time are we expecting that crucial verdict to come in? The quantum of punishment.
Well, it was supposed to come in almost half an hour back when we spoke last. This kind of a bandobast, heavy police deployment we have seen for the last half hour or so, but no word really out of the court. We are told that the sentencing is over. There are indications that the conviction is for a significant period of time. But more importantly, the situation in Tamil Nadu is what is continuing to cause concern. I am told just now that the Tamil Nadu Governor K. Rosaya has held a meeting with the Tamil Nadu Home Secretary. There are reports of the DMK offices being vandalized and ransacked at many different towns in Tamil Nadu. So obviously this entire case turning into an AIADMK versus DMK battle on the street now, after having vanquished them in the electoral battle in May 2014. Now obviously the AIADMK finding itself on the back foot, taking to the streets, and so in that sense the DMK will find itself on the back foot. But yes, what kind of a turn this takes, because if the law and order situation really spirals out of control, that will be very difficult for the AIADMK government to explain, given the fact that it will not really even have its chief minister in place. So in that sense, the governor asking for a report from the Tamil Nadu Home Secretary, pretty significant at this point in time.
Absolutely. Let me quickly go across to Javed Ansari in the studio. Javed, as Mr. Vadrajan was putting it across, a seat warmer would only be put in place. Do you really think that Jaya Jayalalithaa would be able to have the same sort of clout? Would she be able to remote control it in the same way if she's convicted for more than 3 years?
It will be difficult, and it will be difficult for several reasons. One being that if it's more than 3 years, then it's, and also this might mean that she's shifted out of Tamil Nadu. If she's jailed outside Tamil Nadu, it will be very difficult. This day-to-day monitoring, this day-to-day remote controlling might be very difficult. The way the party is structured without Jayalalithaa, it's going to be very difficult for the AIADMK to gather steam and go forward. It will be a real challenge for them.
Let me bring in Mr. Ramachandran on this, sir. A lot of people are talking about DMK getting a shot in arm after this verdict. But, there are several DMK leaders, those who themselves are embroiled in corruption cases, are waiting judgment. How much do you think on the ground DMK would be able to gain from this?
Listen, the fact remains that most people in Tamil Nadu know the fact of how these two Dravidian parties function. And they are not above corruption at all. The fact remains this has come as a blow to the AIADMK, the sentencing of Jayalalithaa. And there are many cases, as you yourself mentioned, against the leaders of DMK, and I'm sure it is not possible for all of them to go scot-free. So the DMK is right now completely on the back foot and a tattered entity in Tamil Nadu. It got whipped in the assembly elections. It got mauled in the general elections in April, May. They got only, they didn't get one seat out of the 39, whereas the AIADMK ran away with 37 seats. It is no small achievement. It's a record of sorts for one of the two Dravidian parties. Therefore, it's going to be tough for the DMK to get itself on the ground and then build up from there for the 2016 assembly elections. But I do agree with Siddharth that essentially she will require a person who is going to be a seat warmer. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Nor is there any doubt that she will call the shots wherever she is. I do feel that, as Javed says, if she is in Bangalore or out of Tamil Nadu or out of Chennai in particular, it's not going to be easy for her to oversee things on a day-to-day basis. I think even when Paneer Selvam was the chief minister, he might have been hanging around more, wherever the chief minister was, either in Post Garden or wherever. But then he assiduously followed the instructions given to him on a day-to-day basis. Now, who her choice is going to be this time is difficult to say. But I believe there's an ex-IAS officer who's also could be a chief ministerial candidate as far as the AIADMK is concerned. So let's see how the politics develop, but right now it is in a complete state of flux.
Absolutely.
And the fact remains that the ground situation in Tamil Nadu is turning out into a serious law and order matter.
Yeah.
And therefore one will have to first take control of this. And I think most significantly, the governor, Mr. Rosaya, has thought it fit to call the chief secretary of the state and discuss and try and take control of the law and order situation in the state.
Significant developments there. Let me bring in Siddharth Varadarajan at this point. Siddharth, do you also see, this being utilized by AIADMK and Jaya Jayalalithaa to somehow create a sympathy wave, to in fact garner more sympathy than probably, her opponents would be able to get some sort of a benefit? Do you see a sympathy wave now flowing in for Jaya Jayalalithaa?
It's possible. Politics sometimes in Tamil Nadu plays out in perverse ways, and it should not be very difficult for her and her party leaders to present this conviction as the result of a vendetta. But in any case, we're running a bit ahead of ourselves, because elections aren't due until 2016, and if I were the ADMK or if I were Jayalalithaa, the thing that would worry me a little bit is that if this violence gets out of hand, I mean, of course, I'm speculating, and there's no suggestion so far that violence has reached that level where the DMK would start clamoring for president's rule, and the government may even look at, the governor may think of making that kind of recommendation. But the only thing that can disrupt the ADMK's current hold over power is a huge outburst of violence leading to calls for president's rule, and that would then in a way put a real challenge on the ADMK's ability to fight off a renewed attack by the DMK, or indeed by the BJP alliance, which won the other two seats in the Lok Sabha elections, and of course DMDK, MDK, PMK, all of these forces are also looking at this verdict as a shot in the arm for themselves. So the politics of the state is complex. It's becoming more complex.
Yeah.
The earlier alliance structure which existed is all up for grabs. And but as I said, the calendar really is 2016. So there's no reason why anything ought to happen in a hurry. The DMK exulting or the ADMK mourning and seeking public support.
Yeah.
There will be a time for that, but the time for that perhaps is not now.
Absolutely. We'll talk more about, what are the immediate repercussions and what, of course, would be happening after this quantum of punishment is decided and declared by the court in Bangalore. Well, focus remains on the big story right now, which is we are expecting to come out of Bangalore. The quantum of punishment is expected any time now. Jaya Jayalalithaa, Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, has been convicted, found guilty of in that disproportionate assets case. I have a guest with me in the studio to discuss every aspect of this story. Siddharth Varadarajan, of course, senior journalist. Also with me in the studio is Javed Ansari, our executive editor, Headlines Today, and Mr. Gaurang Kant, he's a constitutional expert. Mr. Varadarajan, as we were speaking about realignment in the politics, you said it's way too early to talk all that. Immediately, how do you see DMK, in a position? Do you see DMK in a position to capture the maximum mileage out of it? There have been problems within the DMK. Their family has been fighting with itself, and also the structure of the party is not as intact as it used to be. Would they be able to get the amount of benefit that most are expecting them to?
Well, the DMK is the principal rival of the AIADMK and of Jayalalithaa. So, if anybody has to benefit, it ought to be the DMK. That said, we know that the DMK is is no stranger to allegations of corruption, scams. The entire 2G affair is intimately connected to the DMK and the DMK's leaders, at least in the public perception, if not yet proven in court. So it's hard to see the DMK on the corruption issue alone making too much of headway, especially when, as you pointed out, the ruling family, the Karunanidhi family itself, is divided. You have factional loyalties, all the way running from top to bottom in the party, which has led to a certain amount of dysfunctionality. Its cadre are demoralized. It's possible that this judgment will energize them, but with no visible goal staring them in the face, it's hard to imagine this incident alone, this conviction alone, carrying them all the way up to 2016. Perhaps if Jayalalithaa, if the party really, if AIADMK really suffers organizationally and stops being an effective electoral machine as a result of Jayalalitha's inability to communicate with all levels at all times, then the DMK would have an advantage at election time. But as of now, as I said, one would expect the DMK to benefit, but I would say the NDA, BJP, MD, the other parties, everybody is looking to take advantage of the situation. So the DMK will have to get its act together and do it pretty fast.
Absolutely.
If it, it sort its internal house in order, if it hopes to take advantage of the situation.
Javed, very quickly, what about the repercussions as far as the national stage is concerned? Narendra Modi and Jaya Jayalalithaa are seen to be, close. They have a certain equation that they share. But with a corruption case proven against her, it won't be easy for Narendra Modi to expect any sort of, support. They don't need it on the floor of the parliament. But how do you see it panning out for the AIADMK as far as the national politics is concerned?
It curtails her maneuverability, her ability to leverage the numbers that she has in the Lok Sabha with this government. It will curtail that. Secondly, the India can do with some help from the AIADMK and other parties in the on the floor of the House in the Raj Sabha. So she will not be able to leverage too much. She will be dependent on the NDA. She's hemmed in, and this doesn't put her in a great advantageous position vis-a-vis the center. It's now she will have to look up to the center rather than the other way around.
Absolutely, that will be the change of equation as far as the political permutation and combinations are concerned. Slipping into a very short break at this moment. Our guest will be here as the countdown for that big verdict is on Headlines Today.